Well, good morning, guys. Yeah, what have we got in for you today? I'm going to be fishing a qualifier at Ferry Meadows. It's the PDAA and ringers qualifier. We're going to be fishing, like I said, at Ferry Meadows on Gunwade. I think there's about 36 anglers booked in. Yeah, what you won't be aware of is I've actually already qualified, which is good. Yeah, a couple of weekends ago, not say a fortnight ago, I fished my first qualifier at Ferry Meadows, and I was lucky enough to win the match. Had a really good day's fishing. Yeah, I was drawn on peg 62. Didn't expect really to be many fish there. It wasn't where the fish had been coming out. The fish had been coming out in the woods, in the sort of, sort of like the high 80s and 90s. I was sort of like almost at the other end of the lake, and yeah, I'd done a little bit of practicing before that, so I was, fishing positive, and during my practicing, and I caught quite a few fish. So that was my game plan during the match: to just fish positive, put plenty of feed out there. And yeah, it just happened to be some fish in front of us. So I had a really good match with a guy next door to me. It was sort of fish for fish all the way through. A chap called Dave Pike. Really enjoyed it. And I was lucky enough to sort of pip him. I think I ended up with 62 pounds off of peg 62, which was quite good. He ended up with 49 pounds, I believe it was, and came second. Then we had Waco, Adam Wakelin. He came third with he had about 45 pounds, something like that. And then Steve Ringer came fourth with 37 pound in the woods, funnily enough. So, but the woods didn't fish as well as we thought they were going to. So it just goes to show, you've just, you can all think the fish are going to be in a certain area, and you just never know. So yeah, one thing I've really learned is to sort of go with a positive attitude, no matter where I end up drawing, and to fish it positively. This sort of time of year anyway, obviously when the fish are really having it. Yeah, so that was good. Back here again today. Obviously pressure's off now because I've already qualified, so it's just really just to have a good day's fishing and see if I can frame. I parked up now outside the Premier Inn to have a breakfast before we go and for the draw. I'll film the draw for you, and then obviously I shall film some of the stuff during the match. Just a little correction from my last video. For those of you who paid attention, I mentioned in the pairs match that it was Phil Ringer that actually caught more than me. It wasn't, it was Steve Ringer. So apologies for getting that wrong, but yeah, that's for those of you who are paying attention. But yeah, so I've got quite a few matches on here really this year. I've also got 2 Feeder Masters matches on here, one in July and one in August. So I'm happy to keep coming up and doing these qualifiers because it's good practice really for the Feeder Masters. But yeah, so hopefully we'll have a good day's fishing. The weather looks like it's going to be a bit changeable. The sun is shining now, but I think we're going to get waves of cloud and rain, and I think it's going to be a bit breezy. So not too bad for bream fishing, hopefully. So yeah, I shall see you a little bit later. Well, on my way to the car park now, had my breakfast, which was good. Yeah, a couple of significant things for today. Firstly, it's the 16th of June, first day of the fishing season. So, yeah, hopefully everyone's going to get out there and have a really good day today. Normally, I wouldn't fish a match. I'd normally go out on the river with my dad. But yeah, I sort of really wanted to concentrate on these matches this year. So, but anyway, the other significant thing is it's Father's Day. So happy Father's Day, Dad, and thank you to my 3 lovely kids and my wife for my presents and cards, which was great. So yeah, and obviously all these fishermen are going out there to go and get some nice tench, which is what I normally would do. I normally go out on the old Neen up near Benwick, that sort of way, and get some tench and bream out. But hopefully I'll be able to get out there next weekend and do a bit of that. So yeah, apparently the lake's up a little bit, about 6 to 8 inches, because we've had a lot of rain during this week. Not too coloured up apparently, but it is pushing in through the river section, not where it comes into Gunwade. So yeah, if you're drawing sort of peg 52, 53, then you can have a little bit of a battle with the water coming in, I think. But other than that, it's fairly normal by the sounds of it. So hopefully we should be in for a good day. Speak to you later. Right, at the venue now. Got about 10 minutes before the draw. Yeah, not really too worried about where I draw, to be fair, because it just sort of proved it last time. I wasn't really where the fish had been showing. I think a few people have been fishing it and had a few fish by the sounds of it. I think there was Gareth Lambert and Michael Buckwilder fished it yesterday and had about 17 bream each, I think, so they both done quite well. So it looks like there's some fish coming out, which is good, so hopefully we're being for a good day. Just another note to let you know, I've recently bought a new trolley. I've got the Frenzy trolley, and it's absolutely fantastic. I can't recommend it enough. Absolutely superb. It's just, I don't know if you see, this is it here with all my gear on it. Yeah, just show you around it. The rods go on the bottom of it. Yeah, so I don't know if you can see, but the rods go on the bottom of it, and then all your gear goes on top. So yeah, it's fantastic. Got it from a shop in Peterborough, Fish On. Can't remember the chap's name in there, but very friendly guy. Thanks ever so much. Yeah, done me a good deal on it. But yeah, fantastic trolley. Can't recommend it enough. Yeah, really sturdy. All the gear goes on there and some. So and it's nice and flat. It's just, yeah, brilliant. I don't normally have me platform made up, but there's been a bit of water going it this week in the lake, so I know I'm going to be using it, so I've made it up already. But actually that can fit on the bottom there with my rods as well, so absolutely ample room. But I've already made it up, so I know I'm definitely going to be using it today. So I'll give you a shout once we're ready for the draw. Right, well, a call for the draw. As you can see, everyone's queuing up. Got their number. Like I say, I don't really mind where I get. Don't really want right by the river mouth if I can help it, so I don't want 52, 53. Anything really above 50 I'd like. So, but yeah, so I'll probably end up with a 50. But there we go. See how we get on. Here we go.
Midpoint. You got to remember it's all changed. The only one thing I will say is if you go the other way, it's downhill going that way, but uphill coming back.
Oh, torn it. Doesn't want to open. I'm assuming is that 63. Can't be 65, can it? It's got to be 63.
What's up with that? Thanks for the weight.
63. One away from where I was last time. Yeah, so I got the MPEG, peg 63. It's one beside from where I was last time, so hopefully there'll be a few fish there. The guy that fished it didn't do particularly well, so yeah, see how we get on. See you in the swim. Well, this is the swim, peg 63. And there's me set up there. Like I say, I've got my platform out there today. It's up probably, I don't know, not far from a foot from last time. Last time I was just pegged there. That was peg 62. That's Chris Hill, good friend of mine. He runs the Silvers matches at Barston during the winter, which I fish. So yeah, he's sponsored by Census. Very good angler. So yeah. So I'll have my work out today, sat next to him. But like I say, I've already qualified. I've only set one rod up. I've got my feeder rod, not feeding rod. I've only set up one line today. Not going to bother fishing two lines. Not going to bother with a short line. Just going to fish. I've actually set it up at 46 metres. Like I say, it's kind of the MPEG here. I don't know if you can see, but there's like a big bay to my left, and then the next peg along's peg 66, which is right over there. Well, that's I think that's Michael Buckwilder, so it's on that one, so a proper angler. So yeah, I've got Chris Hill one side and Michael the other, so I've got my work cut out. But there's a nice big bay there that potentially could hold fish. Like I say, last time the guy that fished on this peg, he struggled. And I had to fish really hard to stop the fish drifting across to him. So I just had to keep the feed going in all the time. And luckily I didn't drift across to him, and I managed to catch, and he only had a few. Yeah, obviously it could be a different day today. There might not be any fish around at all, or they could be here. But you know, there's a chance when you've got a bay like that. There is a chance that you can obviously get a nice sort of pod of fish out there, and they could just stay there in that bay. Yeah, in the past, peg 66 used to be a flyer, but it hasn't really fished all that well this year, so we'll see how Michael gets on. But yeah, so that's me, obviously out there for the day. Weather, I don't know if you can see it, but it's proper overcast now, some big old clouds, there's no sun, there's a nice chop on the water. It's absolutely perfect for bream fishing, so we can't complain about the weather. I think it might throw a little bit of rain down from time to time, but that's not going to be a major problem. Yeah, so we'll just have to see how we get on. We've got about half an hour before the off, so I shall, yeah, I'll see you in a minute once I'm sat on my box and ready to feed up. Alright, going to be shouting the all in. All in! That's it, beginning of the match, get some feed out there. Fishing at 46 metres. Let's get a nice bit of bait out there. Fish positively again. Process, I don't like a rush. Getting my bait out there, get it all out there in the right spot. That's what sets you up for the day. Quite often see a lot of anglers rushing to get all their bait out there. They start fishing for the sake of an extra 10 minutes and get it all in the right spot, all in the right place. And it can make a big difference. Anyway, I'm going to carry on baiting up, and I'll yeah, come back to you once I start fishing. Right. That's taken me nearly 25 minutes to feed up. Put a lot of feed out there, hell of a lot of feed. So if it's just fishing positive, like I said, I've already qualified, so I fished positives last time, so there's no reason why I shouldn't do the same. On my first cast now, I'm just going to do sort of 12-minute casts, try a few different baits, hook baits. I'm on a window feeder at the moment. I'll go over what a window feeder is and all that again in a minute. Yeah, I'm on a window feeder, yeah, just with a variety of bait inside the window feeder, just obviously capped off with a bit of ground bait. Yeah, see how we get on. I haven't seen anybody have a fish yet to my right. We've got, like I say, over there I've got Michael Buckwilder at the other end of the bay. So yeah, we'll see how we get on. Hopefully we'll have a few. Well, second cast I got one on, but the bloke that fished this swim last time had a real problem with snags about halfway in, so I'm just kind of hoping that I don't have that trouble. Yeah, I've got that trouble. One. Got all slime over my glasses, but you see that? There you go, nice bream. Well, we're an hour in, it's 11:30 now. I've had one bream, probably about, I don't know, 4, maybe 5 pound. Chris Hill's had a one beside me as well, probably about 3 pound he reckons. And I've not seen anyone else catch anything. Michael Buckwilder up there hasn't had a bite yet, and I've not seen anyone else have one down to me right yet. Doesn't really say they haven't, but I've not actually seen them, so because obviously I'm looking this way at my rod. But yeah, I'm quite pleased with that. I have an indication that early on. Obviously Chris has had one as well, so there's a few fish around, but that's it. That's the only indication I've had. So I'm only actually on my 4th cast, so but yeah, obviously we'll see if it picks up a little bit later on. I'm kind of expecting, normally takes about a couple of hours really for it to sort of like start kicking in. If there's a few fish around, obviously they'll start getting on your bait within a couple of hours. But yeah, we'll wait and see. I'm not getting any liners or anything like that, so I don't think there's a big shoulder fish out there at the minute. But yeah, hopefully they'll move in. I wanted to explain, I have explained it before, but for those of you that haven't seen it, the difference between a window feeder and a conventional swim feeder. That's a conventional swim feeder, which you put your ground bait in there. You can obviously put some sort of particle bait in there if you want to put some maggots in with it, and then obviously you can plug it with your ground bait, but primarily you put ground bait in there, and as that goes into the water, the ground bait starts coming out of it fairly quickly because it's got all these obviously tiny little windows, and obviously the hole at the bottom and a hole at the top. If you need it to get down, obviously you'd make the ground bait a bit more denser, a bit more wetter, so obviously that'll get down to the bottom before it starts coming out. I'm not fishing with one of those at the moment, but I probably will do at some point during the day. But what I'm fishing with is this. It's called a window feeder. So it's got a couple of holes around it, a couple of holes in the top. But as you can see, it's just got a window in there. And what I tend to do with that is fill out with particle bait. So chopped worm, dead reds, dead maggots, pinkies, live maggots. And then all I do is I just brush the top of it with a bit of ground bait, and it just plugs that window and that holds the feed in there. So that will get right down to the bottom before that starts coming out. And it's just a different way of feeding. That's why I put a lot of ground bait out there before I started. 25 minutes feeding up, getting the ground bait out there, because I know that this particular feeder won't put a lot of ground bait out there, but what it will do is put a good amount of particle bait out there where my hook bait is. So so we'll just see how we get on with that, but that's the method I'm fishing with at the moment. Well, I didn't see this was absolutely hammering down the rain. What's the time now? It's 12 o'clock now, so an hour and a half in. Still only had the one bite and one fish. Chris next door's got a few in front of him. He's had 3 bream now. He's also got a couple of good liners as well. So yeah, literally I've just had that one bite and one fish. And as you can see, the heavens are open now. Not particularly pleasant, but it was forecast that we were going to get a little bit. But yeah. So we'll just sit it out and see how the tip goes round. See you later. I don't know how much of that you saw, trying to cover the camera up a little bit because it's still hammering down the rain, but yeah, just changing the bait a little bit. As you can see, I'm putting maggots on now. I had worm on, obviously put that one on the second cast, and then I had any more bites, so I decided to put some dead reds on. Yeah, it went out there a few minutes and it's gone round, so which is good. Let's go out there and see if we can get another one. Well, 2 hours in now. I've got 2 fish and I've lost one, unfortunately. yeah, last match I fished it, I didn't lose one fish at all, but I didn't have it on for very long, so it obviously wasn't well hooked. Yeah, felt like a bream. But, yeah, so it's not been prolific, but at least I've had a few bites, so which is good. I think Chris is on 3 fish next to me. I think the guy beside him's had one. Michael Buckwalder on to my left has had one. So yeah, still all to fish for. Plenty of time yet. So as you can see, the rain stopped now. That was absolutely torrential rain, and I don't know if we're in the eye of the storm, but the wind seems to have calmed right down as well at the minute. So there's no wind, which isn't ideal when the sun comes out really for bream fishing. You want a bit of a chop on it. So hopefully the wind will get back up again in a minute, and yeah, hopefully that'll spark the fishing off a little bit. Anyway, I shall catch up with you a little bit later. Well, while the sun's shining, I just thought I'd go over the gear that I'm using. For reel, I'm using a Dower TDR 4012. And you can see that. Yeah, bulletproof reel, fantastic. That's what I use on me, all 3 of my rods. And I'm using the Dower Tournament SLR as the rod. That's for me long line, which isn't that long today, but that's all I'm fishing today. I'm not fishing with a short line. So I use a Browning Sphere for my short line. Once again, really good rod for my short line anyway. Not so good if you want to start chucking some distance into some wind. Yeah, and then I've got the submerge braid on, which is the Matrix submerge braid. That's the I can't remember now what it is actually. I think it might be 010, I think, if I remember rightly. It's been on there a while, but yeah, once again, bulletproof, absolutely fantastic. And then obviously I've got a shock leader on of £8. I use that as Matrix. I use oh, flipping out! I can't think of the bloody. Can't think of the line I use now from the shock leader, but that will come to me. But, yeah, once again, that's £8. Obviously, on my bait up rod, I use £12 line on there. So Maxima, there we go. It's Maxima line I use for me shock leader, and yeah. At the minute I'm fishing with a size 14 hook on, and I'm about to change it up actually. I'm about to go on using a hair rig with a bit of corn on there, 'cause it's just gone quiet. Wayne Lambert, about 4 or 5 pegs down, is starting to catch. I think he's had 5 now, so yeah, it's certainly settled on him. So I just need to change it up a little bit and see if I can sort of nick a few bites, because as the sun's come out, maybe a bit of corn be bright enough to maybe get a few bites. It just certainly don't seem to want maggot and worm at the moment, so go over to a bit of corn on my next cast, see how we get on with that. Well, we've got about an hour to go, and it's just died here. It's funny, it's when that rain sort of stopped and then the sun come out and it all went calm. It's just absolutely died. And it's Chris next to me's not had a. Well, he's actually out of the blue. He picked his rod up and had a fish on. But other than that, he hasn't had a sniff at all. So all I've had is M2 fish. Chris has had 4 and a perch, 4 bream and a perch. And there's a Wayne Bartholomew going, I'll say, down about 4 or 5 pegs. He had a spell where they sat on him for quite a while, for a couple of hours, and I think he's got 6 or 7 bream. But yeah, even his has just died, and then they started catching a bit further down from him. So it seems almost like the bream of they've sort of like just swam through the whole match section really. But no one's catching anything now. Wayne Bartholomew over there, Michael Buckwalder, over there on the left, he's had 2. He hasn't had a bite for absolutely ages. And they're only really catching fish in the low 80s, high 70s by the sounds of it. I think someone's got 9 or 10, and there's a few there with like 5 or 6. So I think it's Gareth Lambert that's got 9 or 10. So he's doing okay. Probably winning the match at the minute, but in the woods, in the 90s, they're absolutely nothing. I think one bream's been caught, so that's all from what I've heard. So yeah, a bit of a struggle. I've tried all sorts of different things. I've even tried fishing a bit shorter as well, but not had a sniff. So I'm just going to try and do some, as in not so long, so sort of like 5-minute casts, 4 or 5-minute casts. So I'll leave it out there for 5 minutes, bring it in, go out again, 5 minutes, bring it in, keep going, just to sort of get a regular bit of bait going out there. Do that probably for about, I don't know, maybe half an hour, see if that can sort of, you know, bring a few fish in, try and produce a bite. But yeah, a bit of a shame really, because it started off well, second cast I had a fish, yeah, and then it just went quiet for a good hour or so, and then I had 2 bites, 1 fish, and then a bite the next cast and lost it straight away, and then I haven't had a touch since. So yeah, it's been a bit of a struggle really. So we've had a couple of deluges of rain. Normally you'd think that would help things out, but the one thing I have noticed is the water's gone down by nearly 2 inches, which is unusual when it's all pumping in for the river, so don't really understand that. But yeah, the water level definitely has gone down, and it's quite cold as well, the water. When you sort of stand in it with your chest waders on, you realise how cold the water is, so definitely different to a couple of weeks ago. But yeah, it's a bit of a shame just not had the fish move on to my bait. So I've actually sort of put in 4 feeder falls, sort of about 2.5 hours in, then I've put another 4 feeder falls in with a couple of hours to go, and it hasn't sort of sparked off anything at all. So like I say, I'm just going to do some what we call short casts now, as in, you know, 4 or 5 minutes and bring it in, 4 or 5 minutes and bring it in, just to see if that regular casting might potentially bring on a bite. So we shall see. Well, there's just over 15 minutes to go. Yeah, I still haven't had any more. I lost one. I started doing these like, you know, quick casts sort of every 5 minutes, and I noticed I had a small liner, and so I sort of carried on, and then a couple of casts later, tip's gone round, had a nice bream on, and it just come off, no idea why. So that's 2 I've lost today, caught 2 and lost 2, which really isn't very good, but there you go. It wouldn't have been enough to win it anyway, but yeah, like I said, 15 minutes to go, so I'm just going to carry on doing the same thing, and yeah, and it'll be everybody out and then for the weigh-in, but yeah, I think you're going to have too much to weigh in, I don't think.
£18.2 and then an £11 there's been.
Looks like you've got that then. I lost 2 fish at all. Oh, 18.6.
18.2. Sorry.
11.2. 11.2.
It's you.
I'll take the 8.
11.2.
Oh dear. Do us a favour. Yeah. Could you just point that camera at these for me, just to film?
Is it recording now?
It is, yes. Yeah, there is, you're right.
24 is it?
Not quite 21 by the looks of it.
Let me a picture one. Where's that fucking song? 21 dead.
There you are, well mate. Oh well, there we go, 2 fish for £11, 2 ounces. Looks like Chris is probably going to win the section. 4 bream and I hooked for, should have had 4 in. That's a real shame, so I could have potentially won the section. So just losing 2 fish has let me down. But never mind, I'll try again. So I'll get the rest of my gear out. Well, that's that. Yeah, just I didn't film the very end all out because it was absolutely hammering down with rain, but yeah, I ended up with £11.2 for 2 fish. Lost 2 fish, which is a shame because if I'd have got them 2 fish I'd have been very close to winning the section, because Chris next door to me won the section with 4 bream and a perch, so well done to Chris Hill. About £21 something I think, so but, yeah, 2 more fish and I might have done that, but there you go, never mind, that's fishing for you. Yeah, it seems to be the curse of the camera. Every time I film I don't seem to have a really good day, but there we go, that will change at some time or another. But at least I managed to catch a couple for the camera, and like I said, I've qualified anyway, so there was no pressure on today, so I enjoyed myself, enjoyed filming, and yeah, on to the next one. There's, I can't remember how many more there are, there's at least 5 more I think, and then I've got a couple of feeder masters on here as well in July and August. So yeah, hope you've enjoyed the video, and yeah, please subscribe if you want to see more, and give it a thumbs up if you've enjoyed it. But, thanks to the PDAA for organising it and Ringers for sponsoring it, and I shall see you in the next one.